Their films show emotion, cause controversies and have cult followings. With unforgettable storylines and characters, their powerful vision has paved the way for many aspiring filmmakers.
When any of us look back at the people who have influenced our lives, we of course think of our families, our friends, our teachers, but somewhere near the top of this list is this man, Steven Spielberg. I truly can't think of another human being who has influenced the modern world more than he has as a filmmaker and a great humanitarian. The name Spielberg is to entertainment what Einstein is to physics.
Steven Spielberg is perhaps one of the most influential film personalities in the history of movie making. He's one of Hollywood's best-known directors and one of the wealthiest. As a producer, director and writer, Spielberg has countless big-grossing, critically acclaimed credits to his name and has become a 3-time Academy Award winner.
I pulled a tooth the size of a shot glass out of the wrecked hull of a boat out there, and it was the tooth of a great white.
Spielberg's films have many different themes and genres. During the 1970s, 80s and 90s, 3 of his films became the highest-grossing films for their time. They were Jaws, E.T. the Extraterrestrial and Jurassic Park. Jaws, a horror film about a killer shark, made Spielberg a household name. His voyage into the science fiction genre was a massive victory. The release of E.T. the Extraterrestrial smashed all other films, becoming the top-grossing movie of all time and was nominated for 9 Academy Awards. Spielberg was also one of the pioneers of the big-grossing special effects movies like E.T., where a very strong emphasis on special effects was placed for the first time on such a huge scale. E.T. was finally taken over in the 1990s as the top-grossing film by another of Spielberg's, with the science fiction dinosaur adventure Jurassic Park. His films later began to address historical issues such as Holocaust, war and slavery. Schindler's List, a film based on the true story of Oskar Schindler, a man who risked his life to save 1,100 people from the Holocaust, gave Spielberg his first Academy Award for Best Director. Many have said that Schindler's List is the most accurate depiction of the Holocaust and was listed in the 10 greatest American films ever made by the American Film Institute. With the movie's success, Spielberg used the profits to set up the Shoah Foundation, a non-profit organisation that archives film testimony of the Holocaust survivors.
So, involved in filmmaking all my life that I never really had a cause, so to speak, that I could believe in and support and, devote so much of my life to. And when this came along, that's when I say it changed my life. I found my soul.
Spielberg has recently teamed up with fellow filmmaker extraordinaire George Lucas for their 4th installment to the action-adventure Indiana Jones series. In early 2008, Spielberg stepped down from his role as advisor to the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games in response to the Chinese lack of action over the war in Darfur. His decision was respected, but it was also said that his creativity would have brought a lot to the Games' opening ceremony. Spielberg has used his powerful role in many ways to help others, and in early 1990 co-founded the Starbright Foundation in order to improve the lives of sick children. Regarded as one of the greatest people of the century by Time magazine, he certainly is one of the best filmmakers. It can be rest assured that Spielberg is a blockbuster king.
I ended up, starting a little company so I could make my movies, and being outside of the Hollywood mainstream, I didn't have anybody to rely on but myself, so I ended up, building an empire that I really I didn't really set out to do.
As the creator of the epic Star Wars saga and the archaeologist adventure character Indiana Jones, George Lucas is an American Academy Award nominated director, producer, screenwriter, and chairman of Lucasfilm. Today, he's one of the most successful independent film directors and producers and has earned himself great financial success. Lucas created the Star Wars franchise during the 1970s, and it has significantly expanded since that time. The first film in the franchise was simply titled Star Wars, but later had A New Hope added to distinguish it from its sequels and prequels. Star Wars was released on May 25, 1977 by 20th Century Fox and became a worldwide pop culture phenomenon, initially spawning 2 sequels. 22 years after Star Wars was released, Lucas gave us a second trilogy as a prequel to the original 3. The Star Wars franchise has released other media, including novels, video games and comic books, and as of 2008, the box office revenue from the 6 Star Wars films has received approximately $4.3 billion, making it the 3rd highest grossing film series. Lucas established Industrial Light and Magic in 1975 to produce the visual effects needed for his films, as well as Sprocket Systems, later to become Skywalker Sound to edit and mix Star Wars. With the success of the Star Wars saga and Indiana Jones with Steven Spielberg, Lucas's films have redefined the term blockbuster and have landed him with a huge following of fans, including himself.
Yeah, I mean, the best part of the movies, Star Wars and Indiana Jones too, some of my other movies, is I still love to watch them, just like anybody else does. If they're on TV and I'm halfway, I turn on halfway through, I can't turn it off, even though I've seen it a million times.
Lucas created the Indiana Jones character as a homage to the 1930s serial films. Released in the 80s, this character has now made appearances in novels, comics and video games. 20 years since the last Indiana Jones film, Lucas has teamed up with Steven Spielberg and returned for a 4th action adventure. Lucas was named 100th Greatest American by the Discovery Channel and in 2005 was awarded with the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award, shortly after Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith was released. He received the Irving G. Thalberg Award at the Academy Awards in the early 90s, which is awarded to creative producers whose bodies of work reflects a consistently high quality of motion picture production. Lucas has donated much of his time and money to many causes, but his donation in 2006 to USC has been the single largest donation and largest gift to a film school. He gave a massive $175 million to his alma mater to expand their school.
It's actually a great privilege to be able to help the school that helped me so much. When I discovered cinema, I did it here at USC before I was an anthropology major. And once I discovered it, I found my passion.
Even though Lucas hasn't got as many films to his name as others, his brilliant storytelling has made him one of the most successful and inspirational filmmakers ever.
As any actor would be, I was ecstatic when I got a phone call that Roman Polanski would like to meet me for his next film.
Roman Polanski is an Academy Award-winning film director, writer, actor and producer. Beginning his career in Poland, he's now a celebrated art house filmmaker. Even though Polanski has been involved in some controversies over the years, he's always remembered for his brilliant filmmaking as well as being acknowledged for it. Having previously made films in Hollywood, Polanski, due to legal reasons, no longer comes back to the United States to make his movies. But this has not held him back. He's continued to direct films from Europe and has received many rewards for his efforts. In 1998, Polanski was named a member of the Académie des Beaux, France's prestigious Academy of Fine Arts. He was elected a member for his contribution to cinema. He's won just about all the awards a filmmaker can, with the majority of them all for his direction. In 2004, he received the Crystal Globe Award for Outstanding Artistic Contribution to World Cinema at the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival. Most of Polanski's films are intelligent psychological suspense thrillers. He's widely known for his deliberate pacing, carefully established mood and atmosphere, and faintly gothic treatment of settings and characters. In 1997, Polanski directed a stage version of The Fearless Vampire Killers, a musical which debuted on October 4 in Vienna as Tanz der Vampire, the German title of the film version. After closing in Vienna, the show had successful runs in Stuttgart, Hamburg and Berlin. He had originally made a film version of this back in the 1960s, which starred Sharon Tate, who he began dating and eventually married. In 2002, his critically acclaimed film The Pianist, one of his most successful to date, was a project close to home for the director.
It probably is the most personal for the reason very simple that I was able to use my own recollections of that period.
His film The Pianist saw him win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, where he also received the César Award for Best Film and Best Director. At the Academy Awards later that year, he also won the Oscar for directing. Even though he was unable to attend the awards ceremony, he received a standing ovation after the announcement of his Best Director win. The film also received the award for Writing Adapted Screenplay and Best Actor for Adrian Brody's performance. In 2005, Polanski released Oliver Twist, a new film adaptation of the Charles Dickens novel, a classic story of a young orphan boy who gets involved with a gang of pickpockets in 19th century London. Critics believe that Polanski's Oliver Twist echoes with the drama of his own tragic childhood, where during World War II he escaped from a Jewish ghetto in Krakow, Poland, shortly before his parents were sent to concentration camps. He survived, like Oliver, by joining with street gangs and relying on the kindness of strangers. He is viewed with a mixture of awe and fear, and is one of modern cinema's most complex and controversial characters, but he's also considered a filmmaking genius.
I'm not sure how they do it, but they do it. You know, whatever they set out to do, they always end up being successful at it.
Joel and Ethan Coen are professionally known as the Coen brothers. For more than 20 years, the two have been writing and directing successful films, ranging from screwball comedies like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, to film noir like The Man Who Wasn't There, and the award-winning No Country for Old Men. Occasionally, they blend these two genres together to end up with films like Fargo, a successful low-budget noir thriller. This dynamic duo have taken home many awards in recognition of their work. By 2007, they had won 4 Academy Awards and had been nominated 9 times, with 2 of these nominations under their alias, Roderick Jaynes.
And the award goes to Joel and Ethan Coen.
At the 60th Annual Directors Guild of America Awards held in Los Angeles, they received the top prize for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in a Feature Film, receiving the award from renowned director Martin Scorsese.
Everybody says it sounds like a platitude, but it's really true that, well, it's nice to get the acknowledgement of critics or even audiences.
The brothers write, direct and produce their films jointly, although until recently Joel received sole credit for directing and Ethan for producing, while their alias, Roderick Janes, took the credit for editing. They are known in the film business as the two-headed director, as they share such a similar vision of what their films are to be that actors say they can approach either brother with a question and get the same answer. The Coen brothers are probably best known for their dark humour and violence, as can be seen in The Lady Killers.
They have a very mirthful outlook on the knuckleheads of the world, and they think they're very viable subjects for motion pictures. And I think they're the only guys who can really make these kind of films.
The film, starring Tom Hanks, ends up with all of the main characters dying in an attempt to dispose of an old woman, but in a humorous way. This was the first film that the brothers shared both the producing and directing credits. No Country for Old Men was released in 2007 and tells of a man who stumbles upon $2 million in drug money that he decides to pocket. He then has to go on the run to avoid those looking to recover the money, including a sinister killer. This plotline is a return to the dark noir themes which have provided the Coens with some of their most successful material.
When they give me the script, just the fact of knowing that the Coens will do it made me feel so comfortable, because I knew that they will be able to mix that with humor.
The film won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director and Best Adapted Screenplay, all of which were received by the Coens. It was the first time since 1961 that 2 directors had received the honour of Best Director at the same time. The Coen brothers' films combine dry humour with sharp irony and sensational visuals. They are also amongst the few modern filmmakers who have shown a great fondness for the screwball comedies of the 30s and 40s, and have incorporated their influences with varying degrees of subtlety. Their style of characterization creates a world in which even characters with small speaking parts seem to have exaggerated traits or characteristics. The Coen brothers are an inspiration to a whole new generation of filmmakers.
Someone asked me, am I excited? Which one is more exciting, getting the Oscar or Golden Horse? I said I can't really compare like that. To me, when I get awards, especially a movie like this, it's the acceptance from the audience that really make me feel very, very deep. I don't know if excitement is the right word for it.
Ang Lee has become one of today's greatest contemporary filmmakers. As an inspiring young filmmaker from Taiwan, Lee began writing screenplays and eventually released Pushing Hands, a dramatic comedy reflecting on generational conflicts and cultural adaptation. However, his next 2 films in his trilogy of Taiwanese culture generation films placed Lee up with the best of the best in showbiz. The Wedding Banquet was Lee's breakout film, and his first exploration into homosexuality. It garnered Golden Globe and Oscar nominations, and won a Golden Bear at the Berlin Film Festival. The third movie, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, received a Best Foreign Film Oscar nomination. Lee followed on now with mainstream Hollywood movies such as the comic book adaptation of The Hulk, Sense and Sensibility, for which he received an Oscar nomination, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which is considered one of his greatest works. Crouching Tiger, a sprawling period film and martial arts epic, swept the Oscar nominations and came out winning Best Foreign Language Film and Best Director at the Golden Globes. This also became the highest grossing foreign language film ever released in America. Lee's 2005 movie, Brokeback Mountain, a small-budget, low-profile independent film, immediately caught public attention and initiated intense debates. The film, based on Annie Proulx's Pulitzer Prize finalist short story, shows the forbidden love and secretive relationship between two cowboys and their lives over the years.
I hope the depth and the layers of the movie and the theme of love that meld through the differences in culture. And people in Mid-America, I think they will want to see this movie, I think.
Brokeback Mountain won Lee the Golden Lion Award at the Venice International Film Festival and became a cultural phenomenon and a box office hit. It won Best Picture at a number of award ceremonies from around the world.
And the BAFTA is presented to Ang Lee.
He won Best Film and Best Director at the 2006 British Academy Awards and scored a leading 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director. He won Best Director and in doing so became the first Asian to ever win the award.
They're my people, my peer. That sets it apart from everything. No, they are the people who know my work. Not from a critical point of view, not from movie appreciation, but professional.
Returning to Chinese topics, Lee made Lust, Caution, which was adapted from a short novel by Chinese author Aileen Chang. Written in the 50s, it's loosely based on an actual event that took place in 1939-40 in Shanghai during World War II. Lee received a second Golden Lion, making him one of only 2 directors to have ever won Venice's Golden Lion twice. His strength with filmmaking is his way of adapting and expanding a short, simple story into an influential feature film, all while showing many different levels of emotion and exploring the depths of the human heart.